Good evening. Welcome to Have I Got News for You? I'm Victoria Coren Mitchell. In the news this week. On the BBC, there are accusations of sexism as a male presenter tells his female co-presenters to get his breakfast.
A bagel with scrambled eggs, half a bagel with peanut butter, a smoothie of milk bananas and berries, and a whole cantaloupe.
In a house in Oxfordshire, a knock on the door announces Michael Heseltine's arrived for tea. And in Surrey, before they even arrive at the scene, firefighters realise the blaze they've been called to is at the Ann Summers warehouse. On Ian's team tonight is a Conservative MP who believes that some people show contempt for politicians because of unhelpful portrayals in the media. Please welcome the shifty, time-serving waste of taxpayers' money, Tim Loughton MP. And with Paul tonight is a comedian who crowdsourced his recent novel by having dinner at fans' houses for £500, which seems like a good deal, but he can drink £700 worth of wine. Please welcome Andy Hamilton. We start with the bigger stories of the week. Ian and Tim, take a look at this.
Justice being done.
New shoot-to-kill policy on blondes on zip wires.
And that's an army of Remainers.
Double Brexit trouble.
Yes, well, it's a bit of a good day for you, isn't it?
It's a very bad day for us.
I thought this is what you wanted. British courts deciding British decisions.
These experts telling MPs what to do, for goodness sake. We got the electorate for that.
I've got some advice for you.
Oh, dear.
If you don't like the result, I'd appeal to the European Court of Justice.
17.4 million people, more than have ever voted for anything in this country, ever, voted to free us from the European tyranny, and it's going to happen.
Yeah, but this was...
Get real. Get with it.
You had a result decided by the judges, and what bit of it don't you get? I mean, you can't just have another decision in court just because you want one. Accept the decision. I mean, just moaning on about how you don't like it. Suck it up.
When we have a referendum, which isn't very often...
No.
That means that we think the people should have the final decision.
Yeah.
And we gave it to them. They made the final decision. So let's get on with it.
Right, so you have no problem with this decision?
Is this a topical satire show? Are we having a political discussion about this?
We're waiting for the show to start.
Yeah, OK.
They can use this bit as landfill.
What is it exactly that the High Court has ruled?
The government doesn't have the power on its own to trigger Article 50 and it has to refer it to Parliament.
I actually launched a legal challenge to try and stop the subject coming up on this show, but unfortunately...
I think if we were going to kick off with it, we should have warned the national grid. Because there's going to be a massive upsurge in electricity demand as people go to put the kettle on.
Or switch on their electric chairs.
What do we know about the judges who made the High Court ruling?
They are elderly men.
Well, no.
No, they're not elderly men. They're young
They
men.
dress up in tights when they're not at work.
You may regret saying that.
Right.
The Daily Mail looked into these judges and revealed one who founded a European law group, another charged the taxpayer millions for advice, and the third is an openly gay ex-Olympic fencer. Does it mean we're staying in the EU?
I think it means... I was watching Nigel Farage, not through a pair of binoculars in his house. It was on the television. And he was sort of ranting and raving about betrayal. But I think there's part of him always wants to be betrayed, isn't it? It's like a sort of S&M thing.
What is Nigel Farage going to do about it?
Go down the pub, have a few more fags?
Well, no, not go down the pub. Nigel Farage has said, I'm not going to disappear. If come spring of 2019 we haven't left the EU, then I would have to take up full-time campaigning again.
Oh. That is sad. And when's this poor man going to get his life back? I mean, all he wants wants is to slide away quietly into the autumn of his life, you know, and people keep dragging him into the spotlight, you know, and just leave the man alone.
Which treacherous, lefty, out-of-touch lovey
Yeah.
Yes.
has been
Prince Philip.
insulting the will... As a hot-headed young radical. David Attenborough, of course.
Oh,
yes! Yes.
He said that people shouldn't have been allowed a referendum, didn't he?
did he?
Yes, so David Attenborough said, "Isn't parliamentary democracy about choosing an MP to ponder difficult decisions for us? Someone we trust and respect, or someone like Keith Vaz?" He's just been elected back onto an influential select committee, the Justice Committee. And who would be more worthy of a place on the Justice Committee than a man who's under investigation for trying to buy drugs for rent boys behind his wife's back?
You took over from him when he was
I
thrown
did.
off the last committee.
I took over as the interim chairman of the Home Affairs Select Committee when he had his little local difficulty with the washing machine salesman routine.
Yes.
Industrial washing machine salesman. It wasn't just any old washing machine.
No.
salesman, industrial
He had to
washing machine
boast,
salesman.
even in character.
He did.
He was Jim, the big washing machine guy.
Absolutely.
But-
With the really big load.
How on earth is he now on another committee?
Well, don't ask me. I didn't vote for him.
Yeah, but the Tories backed him. Why?
Because the Labour Party nominated him, and it's up to them to nominate a Labour MP to go on the committee, and it was up to us to say, oh, all right then, apparently.
So it's...
And I didn't, because it
No.
wasn't.
So it's pretty disgraceful of both of them.
Yeah, he shouldn't be on the committee.
Right, well, that's that sorted.
Okay.
Tim, have you ever sort of backed the wrong horse, or...?
I make a career of backing the wrong horse, yeah. Which particular horse are you referring to?
Well, I was
Victoria?
wondering if you're delighted to see Theresa May, you know, Prime Minister. Did you
She's
back
fantastic.
her campaign?
Love Theresa May. Fantastic woman, making a great Prime Minister.
What I don't understand is how...
What are you laughing about? It's true.
Sorry, no, it's just...
Fantastic.
It's the best joke I've heard yet.
She's sort of...
17 points ahead in the opinion polls?
Yeah, pretty good. But if only we had Prime Minister Andrea Leadsom, who you backed.
Yeah. She would
The
have
country
been
would be completely different now.
even better.
Do you think so?
Even better. But we've got Mother Teresa, and she is fantastic.
And this is
Love her
despite...
lot.
I thought that was the whole point, that she wasn't the mother.
Yes.
Brought up by your candidate.
Controversial.
how she came to be Prime Minister when your wonderful campaign chant for Andrea
There we
Leadsom.
go.
Let's have a look at the clip from BuzzFeed.
What do we want? Listen for the When do we want it? Now!
That's the way you have a demonstrations. No police, no Molotov cocktails, no need for water cannons.
Not many
nice,
people.
middle class. It was a great march on Parliament. Everybody had a very nice afternoon out.
Are you allowed to march on Parliament?
No, you're not.
without telling the police?
Apparently I
Isn't that
committed an
against the law?
offence by
Yeah.
having an unlicensed march.
That's a revolution. What we're looking
This is the High Court ruling over whether Parliament should be allowed to vote on triggering Article 50. The Mail Online was quick to respond. Government is defeated in High Court. While the Telegraph Online was first with even hotter breaking news. On this day, Henry VIII makes himself head of the church. According to the Telegraph, Nigel Farage has been wooed by producers of I'm a Celebrity and offered £750,000. When first offered the chance to appear on I'm a Celebrity, Nigel Farage said no way would he go into the jungle. But he's reconsidering now they've explained it's in Australia, not Calais. Paul and Andy, take a look at this.
FBI, oh yes, Clinton, she's, there's more stuff coming through. That's somebody sticking pins in
needles
her.
in her eyes.
That's very amusing.
Trump keeps saying that there is a conspiracy to ensure that he can't win, and I do hope he's right. Seriously, it'd be quite irresponsible in the circumstances if they weren't trying to rig the election against him, because the man is mentally ill.
Well, they've seen him come for some time. I reckon they've probably built a sort of like a secondary White House, which looks like the real one but isn't.
Yeah.
And TV videos that show walls being built which aren't being built. It's a reality TV show. He'll never know the difference.
But it's a very rare American election where you think that whoever wins, one of them will put the other one in jail.
That's if he stops there.
Yeah.
He might burn her as a witch.
He is up against the worst opponent in any American election in history. This latest cache of emails is about a sort of catastrophic lack of judgment by Hillary.
Yeah.
She refused to sack her leading aide when she was married to a bloke called Wiener, who showed his wiener to young girls by sending them texts.
Yeah.
I mean, if Trump is up there with sort of being sleazy and unpleasant, immediately there's another sleazy and unpleasant story on the other side.
Yeah.
And if they got Bernie Sanders in, or Colonel Sanders, anybody would have won by now.
How did Hillary Clinton explain putting her emails on this private server rather than the...
She said it was just because she was scared that they'd be leaked to the other side.
Well, she couldn't be bothered to carry around an extra smartphone, she said.
Oh, well, that's a better excuse.
Where do you carry your extra smartphone, Andy?
I don't have a smartphone, Victoria. I don't have a phone. I don't.
What do you mean?
I don't carry a mobile.
You-
Don't look at me.
Where do you keep yours, Paul?
I have a telephone box at the end of my road, which I carry around. No, I don't have a mobile or do email.
Are you ghosts?
Yes.
I think I might be a ghost, because I had an experience at Gatwick Airport a few years back. I was waiting, they had done
Yeah.
some building work, and they
Yeah.
had this system whereby you had to be photographed on your way in.
Oh, my
the
God.
departures gate. And the computer
Yeah.
wouldn't take a photo of me.
Ooh.
So the security guy said, I think it might be your hat. Take your hat off.
Yeah.
Took my hat off. And then he said, oh, it's not. Take your scarf off. Took my scarf off. Still no photo from the computer. And then he said, well, maybe it's your jacket. Took off my jacket. And then I said, have we got a problem here?
Yeah, kiss me. Yeah. You really fall for the easiest things, don't you?
Do you know what his explanation was?
We
What
don't
was it?
know.
He said to me,
Yeah.
I think the problem might be that the computer doesn't recognise your face as a face. Right? So maybe I am a ghost. Maybe you're right.
What was the immediate impact of the reopening of this FBI inquiry into the emails?
The polls narrowed.
Yeah.
What's Donald Trump's view of polls?
They're completely
them
unreliable
home.
unless he's in front.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he has traditionally said, I don't believe the polls, I don't believe them, I don't believe them. The dirty polls, we call them. There is tremendous dishonesty in the polls. I've never seen anything like tremendous dishonesty. And he's gone neck and neck in the polls, and he said, we're going to win back the White House. Going to happen, folks. A lot of good polls out there, a lot of good polls. We're doing great.
Hopefully, humanity will dodge a bullet on Tuesday. But if Trump does get elected...
Hopefully Trump won't dodge the bullet on Wednesday. Look at them. They're applauding the assassination. That's where we've been taken to.
people.
That's why you don't give people the vote in referendum. They're happy to endorse murder.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go for it.
Yeah. But, I mean, the only
If we all do it, they can't blame one of us.
I'm slightly worried, just in the name of balance, that we're making it look like there's only two candidates in the American election, but there are others. There's Libertarian Gary Johnson, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you see how well he dealt with a tough question this week?
As a fiscal conservative, how do you explain that when you were elected governor of New Mexico, you inherited a debt of $1.8 billion, but left office with a debt of $4.6 billion?
That is absolutely horse shit.
You can buy a lot of horse shit for free. I tell you.
Well, I mean, he's also used a noun as an adjective, hasn't he?
I know.
It can't be absolutely horseshit. It's either absolute horseshit or it's absolutely horseshitty. But
Finally, in related news, what did someone with access to the internet and too much time on their hands create this week?
Somebody accessing the internet with too much time on it. Who could that be?
They made something beautiful. Shall we have a look?
Yes.
yeah.
Stop it, we have to stop looking at it.
I think the Daily Mail have got their new love child scandal.
God, that is terribly frightening.
It is frightening. Let's stop looking at it. People will have nightmares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the news that the American people could be about to elect the worst president in US history, or a worse one. Despite Trump's claims, not all of the media is against him. One paper has already endorsed him on its front page with the headline, "Make America Great Again." That's from The Crusader, the in-house newspaper of the Ku Klux Klan. Before you jump to conclusions, it's not all racial hatred. It's got regular lifestyle items with tips on sewing and basic woodwork. And so to round two, the picture spin quiz.
Yeah.
Fingers on buzzers, teams.
Yes, the Russians are spying on us via the internet, and everything's connected to the internet these days, refrigerators, kettles and everything like that, so they can sort of, like, they can basically take over all our lives without us knowing.
Well, that's it. I mean, this is the idea that the act of Russian warfare that comes next will be invading our homes via our kettles. Yes, the hackers use your kettle's default password to take control of it and
Hang on, your kettle has a default password?
I mean, your kettle probably doesn't.
My kettle doesn't know.
No, but if you have a smart kettle...
A smart kettle?
Yes, you can boil water from another room.
Can you boil a kettle in somebody else's house without their permission?
Yes.
Yeah. That's how Putin could launch an invasion. All our kettles could spontaneously start boiling.
Everybody rushes to make a cup of tea and he's coming across the Straits of Dover.
Straight in.
But you're joking,
joke. I mean, this is happening.
No, it's not really happening, Ian.
Yes.
Isn't it?
But
Any
the
minute
kettle
now.
thing, that was just... I made that up.
No, you see, you didn't make it up. They can
I did
take
make
over
it
the
up.
kettle via the password and press gang the kettle into a botnet. The enslaved device then lures others into the botnet, and they're all told to make endless requests from the same server, causing it to overload and crash.
Yeah, this did happen last week. There was a crash when all sorts of bits of the internet were unavailable and fell apart after they were hacked into. It made a huge difference to my life. I couldn't get on Twitter, Instagram. I was taking pictures of my lunch.
To get an Uber car instead of your regular handsome cab.
Not just kettles. I mean, what else? What are other...
Fridges.
Toasters?
Yes.
Toasters are the worst.
Electric can openers?
Toasters of the...
Webcams, baby monitors, printers, routers. You must have some of these things.
But I have a baby monitor, yes, but that's kind of was a foolish purchase, really, because I don't have any children.
Aren't we protected by the fact that we've got very slow broadband?
Why should we not be worried about Russia's aggressive posturing, according to Professor Mark Armand?
Somebody hacks into you?
Yeah.
Mr. Putin has a reasonable regard for him.
What was the sinister domestic development in the world of cyber spying this week?
Your fridge could be communicating to the Russian embassy exactly how long the fish fingers have been in there.
No,
No?
but your
No?
fridge could be communicating with your insurance company to see what kind of risk you are. Apparently, they could look into your smart fridge or into your smart toilet to see how healthy you are.
I'm sorry. How could they possibly look into your toilet?
Presumably a smart toilet checks on your regularity and so could give that to the insurance.
Precisely.
And
Weight.
a smart fridge would say, you know, that stuff's well past its sell-by, but he's eaten it anyway.
So the fridge is talking to the loo, you get 4 ounces of food about 20 minutes ago. Let's see what happens later.
But yes, this
What
is...
do you mean, yes? Yes doesn't go into this. This is the one conversation where yes has no role.
I suppose the fridge could warm the toilet, couldn't it? It could say... "Tell me what you want, you know,
He says the vegetable spring rolls. Tell the window to lift itself up. I welcome a Trump presidency after all this. I need to get rid of some of these robot toilets.
This is the warning that Britain is under increased threat of cyber attacks from Russia. Before you get too worried, experts have assured the public that Russian cyber attacks will only be able to target 1 or 2 vulnerable TVs in the country. So you needn't worry unless you suddenly experience interference with your picture. Thanks to the Internet of Things, hackers can now target any household object which can be controlled online, including smart kettles. It's impossible to know which kettles have been compromised, as these days there are hardly any whistleblowers.
I hope that whole story wasn't made up just for that joke. I have strong suspicions it might have been.
OK, here's another one. Fingers on buzzers.
What the bloody hell's that about?
The only calendar story I can recall is about the Dull Men Club or something. They've brought out a calendar. They said there's not enough dull women around. So this is their attempt to be all-embracing.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the news that the Dull Men's Club calendar is going to feature women for the first time.
Including the curator of the Pencil Museum.
A particular favourite of yours?
Well, there's not much point to it, really, but yes, it's...
Tough crowd.
Also featured in the calendar is Amanda Hone, who quit her job and spent a year travelling around the country following signs. What kind of signs?
You're going the wrong way.
Amanda is a big fan of brown signs.
Ah.
Here she is.
Brown signs. Oh, right, there are special brown signs. Yeah, OK, that's fair
I know
enough.
that sign. I've been to both of those places.
There's this thing called the Dull Men's Club, Ian. If
Yeah.
you want to...
He's the life president.
What does Amanda's husband think of her brown signs?
He's...
Has she got a husband?
Yes, and even more than that, according to Amanda...
Got two husbands.
According to Amanda, when I met my husband, he told me he had done brown signing once, so I knew he was a keeper. It's been a big week for women. Shall we have a look at the momentous announcement of the Church of Wales's first female bishop?
Yes.
Quite a turnout.
It gives me enormous pleasure to announce that the Bishop-elect of St David's is Canon Joanna Penberthy, who is the rector of Loughton in the Diocese of Swansea and Brecon. That's a parish that's centred on Llandrindod, Wales.
Why are they so far away?
I think the bishop's got a bit of a reputation.
They've realised that those concrete posts aren't enough, so they've put a traffic cone as well to deter him.
This is the news that women are to be featured for the first time on the calendar of the Dull Men's Club. 3 of the Dull women include a collector of brown signs, a devotee of barbed wire, and the curator of a pencil museum. Might sound dull to you, but what a team they'd make on Only Connect. Time now for the odd one out round. Just one between you this week. Your 4 are Michael Gove, Miss Prism, Victoria Beckham and David Cameron.
Miss Prism, important to being Ernest Worthing lost a child in a handbag at Victoria Station. David Cameron, unfortunately, forgot his daughter. Nancy was at the pub. And Michael Gove, trying to emulate his former friend David Cameron, went dad dancing with Rachel Johnson and left the 11-year-old wandering around the hotel, apparently.
You're definitely in the right world with lost children.
They've all lost a child, except Miss Prism, who lost the manuscript to her novel. I'm just telling the story like it is.
And Victoria Beckham, has she gained a child or something? She adopted a few, or...?
You are certainly in the right direction.
Well, Michael Gove's usually the one out, is it not?
Michael Gove deliberately left his child in the hotel room. All the others have mislaid
Accidentally.
children.
Oh, right.
Victoria Beckham forgot her son Brooklyn. She said, I jumped in my Range Rover. Harper was in the car, I was in the car, and we were on the way to school, but we didn't have the one who needed to go to school. Michael Gove and Sarah Vine, his wife, took the deliberate decision to leave their child in a hotel room while they went to a party. You want to be careful there, Michael Gove. Some bitchy columnist could have a field day with that. And the hotel staff were aware of the situation, but what caused them concern later on?
Was he wandering around the corridor?
He was wandering the corridors at 1:30 in the morning, an 11-year-old.
Perhaps the minibar rang the police.
He was distressed, apparently. He said, I think I might be the son of Michael Gove.
You mentioned earlier Rachel Johnson, the writer, Boris's sister. She was also at the Cheltenham Literary Festival. I think the party was for. She made an excuse for the Goves. What was her excuse?
They were both completely drunk.
No. The only reason they left their son is because he was babysitting their 2 dogs. I think it's absolutely fine. Because presumably if she left the dogs unattended, then Michael Heseltine might creep in and strangle them. David Cameron left his daughter behind after a pub lunch. On another occasion, Cameron couldn't find his children during a football match at West Ham, only to discover they were safe and well at Aston Villa. Time now for the Missing Words round, which this week features as its guest publication, Concertina World, the best concertina magazine there is. Accordion to those in the know. And we start with, faced with blue mould and an infestation of insects, Maximus Z. Barnaby, what?
Decided against having any pudding.
Thought about putting his concertina in the freezer. Maximus was having climate problems with his concertina in the tropical rainforest and was told by another forum user the environment there is too hostile for the instrument. Then again, it's hard to find any environment that isn't hostile to the concertina. Next, man trying to impress girls at zoo, what?
Headbutts wasp. Licks an ocelot. That's close, isn't it? It is close. It must be.
It's close. Man trying to impress girls at zoo gets in tussle with panda. The man he fought a panda, he was left with 2 black eyes, which only made him more attractive to the panda. And finally, pudgy older fathers, what?
I read this. They're incredibly attractive to women.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
Very attractive to women.
Very, very.
Very attractive to women. Very attractive to women.
It's true. I
Yeah.
certainly recognise it as a face.
That's a compliment, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a compliment.
That's probably the nicest thing a woman's ever said to me.
Pudgy older fathers live longer and are more attractive. The final scores are Ian and Tim with 6 points, Paul and Andy with 7. Before we go, there's just time for the caption competition.
New panel show. Countdown.
And I leave you with news that after weeks of scandal and rumour, the press finds a British cyclist who's definitely not on performance-enhancing drugs. At another disastrous, fractured company away day, one boss tries to lighten the mood with his favourite walking down the stairs trick. And in Los Angeles, Simon Cowell's dermatologist reveals 10 years' worth of removed skin. Good night.
I've got news for you. Is back at the same time next week when the US will have a new president. So tonight's a good time to go online for BBC Three and Trump's unlikely superfans. Angela Scanlon is stateside to meet Donald's most devoted. Whilst here on BBC One, it's the big Craig Lang bake-off and a showstopper from Isa. Still Game up next.